So, wow, we're talking about, we're on chapter 5, Roman numeral 2. On me, it's in my workbook, it's 63. I think in the new workbooks, I think it's page 64. But it's Roman numeral 2, focus. Okay, is that true? Let's see, we follow. Yeah, we're into focus. We talked about a long time that the focus is, number one, as we look at stuff, it's always easier to look at other people and pick out their flaws. That's easy for us. It's like, yeah, I got this one. You need to do this. You need to do this. Oh, man, you know. But that's fine, but that's not what God wants. What he wants us to do is look in the mirror and say, oh dear, this is what needs to be fixed right here. Because we can't help anybody else until we've got ourselves on a firm foundation. You can't help other people if you try to help them and you take hold of their hand and they pull you into the mud. It's no good. You know, they're in this place and they need help coming out, but you've got to be planted, grounded, firm foundation, all that stuff, so that when you go to help them out, you don't get pulled in. So you got to work on yourself first. The focus has to be here. Okay, God, what do you want me to? What do I need to change? What do you think about me? And God will tell you, and it's sometimes it's a really hard conversation, but we need to do that. The second one was there's a lot of talkers, but very few walkers. A lot of people have a lot to say about stuff, and you know, they're going to tell you all the things that you can do, and they may be right, but when you watch them, you're like, you know, you said this, but you're doing this, and so what happens is the words lose all validity because they're not doing what they say. So there's nothing wrong with talking, and it is good to communicate, but you got to walk it before anybody's going to listen to your words. So we have to be walkers. Not what God really wants is he wants walkers and talkers. He wants somebody that's walking like they're supposed to and telling people what he wants them to hear. Because if we're walking the walk, they will listen to the talk. You know, your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. I just love saying that. With my mental instability, I can still say it. I'm really proud of myself. But it's so true because it's useless. I mean, I bet you anything, if I just asked you, you know somebody or you've known somebody that talks this line but lives like that, and you're always just like, yeah, whatever, right? You know those people. They're there, which is my prayer is that that's never me. You know, I mess up. I do things I shouldn't do. I probably told the kids something today that I probably shouldn't have, but I just had to. It was so good. They were just like laying on the floor laughing wildly. But it wasn't that bad. I'm just, you know, but it might have been a little bit inappropriate. But I just, you know, but I've got to be careful with that. Because I love to tell stories, and I got a lot of stories, and a lot of them they shouldn't hear. They just shouldn't. They're really good stories. But I don't want to tell them about all this evil, wicked, bad stuff I did, even though it's really cool and fun to listen to. But they're going to think, oh, well, if he did it, I can do it. I don't want that to happen. I want them to follow my words, so I've got to walk what I'm saying, and I got to be careful of it. That's my prayer. Okay? And watch this. And the next, we've got to do that. We just have to do that. Okay, we can't just be walkers, but we got to be talkers. Okay, and our level of commitment, you know, which principle is it? Over here, principle number, right? 7. 7's the number of perfection, right? 7's the big one, right here. Okay, our sinful habits do hurt those who follow us. That's bottom line. And watch this, we all have sin. And when we do wrong, you know, willingly, and we just don't really care, we just do it and say, well, it doesn't affect anybody else. Not true. It does hurt those people around us. And we never not influence. We never not influence. It's bad English, but it's an awesome principle. Okay, and I don't care how old you are, or how many people around you, what kind of family you got, I don't care. There's always people looking at you, always saying, that's who I want to be. And you may not even know it. And so they're going to try to be who you are, not what you say. We've got to be careful, okay? Which is our level of commitment to the Lord directly affects those who follow us. if I want the young people that I influence and teach in this school, if I want them to have a commitment to the Lord, I have to show them commitment to the Lord. I have to live that. I can't just say it. They've got to look at me and say, he tries, he lives that. He walks with, I really hate saying those things because in my mind, I don't do any of it. And I know that's not true, but I've got to have the walk where they look at me and says, I may not believe that, but he believes it. And he's doing his best to do what he's saying. And I respect that. And at some point, they might say, well, I want that too. But I've got to. If I'm not committed to the Lord, why would anybody, how can I expect anybody to listen to me when I tell them they need to be committed to the Lord? That's not reasonable. Well, you're not doing it. Why would you tell me to do it? So we got to think about that. That's huge, okay? Our righteous habits bless those who follow us, okay? When God talks about in Malachi, you stand under the windows of heaven. He says, try me. Check it out. Prove me. He said, if you will do what I say, check this out. You stand there. I will open heaven, and I will just pour out blessings. Amen. So many you can't pick them up. You don't know what to do. They're just all over you. You're standing in this pile of blessings. What do I do? He says he'll do that. So come here, Elijah, just for a second. Okay, because you're here. I love to pick on Elijah. He hates me, okay? So Elijah's over there, right? Stop. And I'm over here, and God's going to open the windows of heaven. And it's like, come here, Elijah, come here. This is going to be so cool. So I stand here now. Watch. Okay, God. And he starts pouring out blessings. They're hitting me, but who else are they hitting? Because he's standing next to me. He doesn't know anything about it. He's not asking for it. He may not even believe it. But he's standing here next to me, and as they pour out on me, they're pouring out on him too. Literally. Okay? Thanks. So our righteous habits bless those who follow us. When we pull them in, it's on us, but it's on them too. The people that we're pulling in close, the people that are pulling close to us. It works that way, okay? And we got to be willing to do that. But the opposite is true too. When I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, I hurt those who are standing next to me. Now, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. Okay. So how about this? Luke 18:10. 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One a Pharisee, that's a law-abiding sect of the Jews. Very, very religious, very good, okay? Large and in charge, okay? And the other a publican, a tax collector, a worthless individual. These guys, these publicans, the tax collector, they're Jews, but they're working for the Romans, who the Jews hate. And they're not only collecting taxes, they're lining their own pocket too, because they have the authority of the Romans. So it's just like, they go and they say, all right, you owe taxes. And they say, the tax really is $5, but $15. They can't say anything because I got the police behind me, so they have to pay it. And so they take the 5 and give it to the Romans, they keep the 10. And everybody knows it. And they're like, not only you traitor your people, you're stealing from us. And that's how people, and that's what most of the tax collectors, the publicans, did. They're some wicked people, okay? So these 2 guys, they go into the temple to pray. And it says, Luke 18:11, the Pharisee stood up and prayed like he stood up and prayed. He stood up and prayed. He's like coming to God, and he stands up. He stands up. Think about that. And he prays. Thus, prays with himself thus, okay? God, I thank you. I thank thee that I am not as other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I am so glad that I am so much better than them. This is just awesome because I am awesome. And just look at this poor guy. I'm so glad I'm not like that. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all I possess. What's he doing? He's bragging to God about how awesome he is. So I'm so glad that I'm not like that. We got to be careful because I know that I have a tendency to think that way. So you're driving down the street, St. Pete, and you pull up to a fairly busy street, pull up to a stoplight, say 62nd and Highway 34. Yeah, am I right? Place? Yeah, right there. Wawa's, Red Lobster, right there. the little gas station over there. What's it? Hertz, a U-Haul place, storage place. So you pull up to the lot and you stop. What's going to happen? Almost every day. There's these guys. Need help. Give me food. I don't want to work, but I want you to support me. And people are handing them a buck, handing them a couple of bucks. So what's your reaction to that? Now, I don't know, but I know what my reaction is. Don't make eye contact. I don't want that guy talking to me. Man, he's a mess. Can't believe he's out there. Why don't you just get a job? It's so sad. I mean, I bet you if he tried, he could get a job. I'm thinking all this in my mind. I said, here I am coming home from working, and I've been at work for 16 hours. Why doesn't he go get a job? You know, McDonald's is hiring, I promise. There's a sign right over there at Wawa's that says, help wanted. Take a shower, go get a job, dude. What in the world? And this is what's going through my mind. What I'm saying is, look at that guy. Sure, I'm glad I'm not like that. It's exactly what that is right there. If that's not you, that's fine. And I wish it wasn't me, and I'm working on it, okay? This sounds like many of us, including me, we always do what's right. Just ask us, right? One of the things I do, and I don't know, I probably shouldn't do it, but I do it anyway. Somebody will come up to me and, Chris, ask me how to do it. Or call and I'm like, ask me how to do it. I told you, I'm going to tell you that. It's locked. Now it's too late. Oh, I'm wonderful. I must be able to do something. I say that. How you doing? Oh, I'm wonderful. I must be. Everybody told me. That's embarrassing. That's funny. Am I serious? Probably to some degree. And I probably shouldn't say it. I just be transparent with you. But that's the attitude. Quite a bit. It really is. It's not personal because I call her Chloe and I call Chloe Riley. I get it locked and I can't change. I just don't know what happens in my mind. But we got to be careful because God despises that. Okay, God looks at us when we do that and he just says, oh, my soul. He just shakes his head because he knows. You know, we may have all this going on out here, but we're not a bag of Cheetos. Okay, we may, have the bag and the wrapper, but inside is just moldy, nasty stuff. And God's looking inside that bag. He says, no, you're not. You're not better than him. I have no respect for you whatsoever. He looks at this person, that guy, and he sees the wicked, deceitful heart inside, not the polished exterior. Now, continuing on, this is the person God has respect for. God doesn't have much. I don't want that to be me. Okay, and I know it, and I work at it, okay? But the next verse says, Luke 18:13, and the publican, the other guy. Now just look at the difference, physically and everything else, standing afar off. He's not even willing to approach the altar. He's like, I don't even deserve to get even close to that altar because that's kind of where God is. I'm going to say way back here because I don't even have the right to get close. Standing afar off, he's too ashamed of his sin to even approach the altar. Wouldn't it so much, this is the verse, standing afar off, would not lift up so much as his eyes into heaven. The publican is like, God, aren't I great? The publican is like, God, I'm here and I know you really don't, I know I'm here, I'm just, please, I just need you, but I don't even deserve to approach. And he won't even lift up his eyes to look at God. Okay, that's called humility. Okay, but smote his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, because I am a sinner. I am the guy that he says I am. I'm worthless. I'm not. I have nothing good in me. I want you. And if you would, I just want you. I know I'm not worth anything. That guy over there, he's got it all. I got nothing. But I want you. I'm not worthy of it, but I want you. That's the difference. Okay? And that's, this guy says nothing about the things he did right. Nothing about the things he's accomplished. All he did, he presented to God. All he gave God and told him about was his faults and his failures. He humbled himself. Okay? This person came to God in honesty. Because honestly, that's who we all are. There's none righteous. No, not one. There's none. I don't care what you do, what you say, how you look. There's none righteous, no, not one. All of us should be standing back there with that publican saying, God, I'm not worthy for you even to look at me, but I just want you, please. And Jesus answered, Luke 18:14, Jesus, I tell you, this is Jesus' words, this man, the publican, went down to his house justified rather than the other, the Pharisee. For everyone that exalteth himself shall be abased. If you lift yourself up to God, God's going to be like, boop, no, don't want you. Okay? But he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. Proverbs says, before honor comes humility. Pride goeth before a fall, but honor comes after humility. So, number one, we can't seek honor to start with. And we really can't seek humility because something's wrong with that somehow in there. We just have to be humble. We just have to become humble. Just not, and that doesn't mean what's that, sir? Not to put ourselves down, to denigrate ourselves, to try to say how worthless we are, yo, you guys, I'm so useless, I'm so worthless. Now, before God, that's all true, but that's not what God wants us to do to everybody, because that's false humility. He just doesn't want us to take on pride, to lift ourselves up. That's all he wants, just to be realistic, especially to him, but to others too, because it comes across as arrogance. Okay, so what are we doing? This is a question for you. Are we exalting ourselves? Or are we humbling ourselves? Because it's one or the other. Which is, trying to overcome sin and all this in our life. Well, how is sin? How am I going to receive victory over sin? How do I get victory over sin? How does it happen? I'm asking. I can't hear you because I'm deaf. What? Surrendering, getting rid of my stuff, yielding, submitting, obeying. So where's the victory coming from? God, not from me. So if I want victory over sin in my life, I can't get victory. I have to put myself in a position where I receive it from God. And that position is surrender, yield, submit, obey, get out of the way, do whatever it is he wants. Don't lift yourself up. And as I do that, then he gives me victory. So if I want victory, I can't, watch this. If I'm exalting myself, God's like, okay, well, you got a hold of this thing. Talk to you later. I love you, but, when you're ready to come to me. But if we're humbling ourselves, he's like, yeah, come here. I got you. Let's just let me pick you up, carry you, whatever. That's how it happens, okay? Think about those verses, How about this right here? 5 minutes, maybe I can do this. Titus 1:15. It's a really good verse. Unto the pure, all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. You heard that before, right? Probably. Okay, unto the pure, all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. What does that mean? Really, what does that mean? So unto the pure, all things are pure. So what it sounds like to me is like if I'm pure, if I'm like this awesome person, and if I go over there in the trash can and I dig around and I pick up something that's just nasty and disgusting, and the opposite of pure, whatever that would be, because I picked it up and I have it, it's got to be pure. Because that's really what it says. Unto the pure, all things are pure. So the other side of that, unto them that are undefiled, nothing is pure. So if I'm wicked and undefiled and disgusting and all this stuff, I'm going to borrow this a second. Now, I know that he's unscrewed the lid, so infection is set in. But technically, that's pure water, right? Yes? No? Yeah, bottled water. Hopefully you haven't backwashed or anything much, right? Okay, I'll make sure the lid's on. It didn't work. So since I'm nasty and disgusting and defiled, I pick this up. Therefore, it's defiled because I have it. Unto them that are defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. Well, that can't be pure because I have it. Is that what those verses mean? It's okay to say no or yes. Is that what those verses mean, do you think? Seriously, anybody? I am not weighing in on this one because it's a trick question and he's going to knock me down. Okay, so how about this? Let me help you. Okay, now, maybe I'm wrong, but what I think it means is this: if I am pure, where does that purity come from? Because I am definitely not pure. But if I am, and God says, be holy, for I'm holy. He says, I can't do that, but he says, yes, you can. I will give it to you. He wants us to be righteous. Well, how can I be righteous? He gives it to me. He wants us to be pure. How can I be pure? He gives it to me. So if I am pure, where did it come from? God. So if he's given me purity, I must be walking with him. I must be obeying him, doing what he wants, in his will, all those things, right? And if I'm there, and I'm following him, I'm obeying him, I'm walking like he wants, what kind of stuff am I doing? Pure things. I'm doing right things. So under the pure, all things are pure because that's what you're going to do. You don't have to worry about it. You just will do it. When you're walking with God, you're doing God things because you're walking with him. If you're with him, you're going to be doing his stuff. So under the pure, all things are pure. Now, I may be doctrinally a little bit out of line here, but it works for my illustration, so just go with it. Talk to preacher later. But watch this. Under the pure, all things are pure. So as I'm pure, it's because I'm with him and he's given me purity. Therefore, the things I'm doing will be pure. Under the pure, all things will be pure. Now, the other side of that is under the undefiled and the unbelievers. And this verse is talking to Christians, not lost people, the best of my knowledge. Because before that well, anyway, I won't go there. That's what I believe it's talking to, is saved people. But just because I'm saved doesn't mean I'm doing good things. I can walk away from God. I just did because it's over there, and I'm over here. So if I'm defiled, I'm unbelieving. I'm like, God, you leave me alone. I'm doing my own thing. I'm walking my own way. I'm doing my own stuff. Can I do pure things? Can I do the things that I can't do God things because I'm not following God. The only way I can do God things is when I'm following God. I'm not following God, so I can't do God things. I'm doing my things. And that's wicked. Wicked, that word in the Old Testament, wicked means walking in the wrong direction. And I am walking in the wrong direction if I'm doing my things, if I'm not doing God things. So when it says, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving, you can't do anything right. It's not that you're doing, horrible crime stuff. You're not like kidnapping babies and putting them on the barbecue and eating them. You're doing stuff, but it's your things. It's not his things. It's your stuff. It's not his stuff. And by definition, if it's my stuff, there is a way which seemeth right unto man. But what's the end of that? Death. Separation from God. Death. I separated myself from God. It's not good. Everything I do is undefiled, is defiled. And nothing is pure. But if I am pure, it's because I'm walking with God, and he's given me purity, and the things I do will be pure. So it's the same thing we're talking about. Okay, when we approach God, don't tell him how wonderful you are, because you're not, and he knows it. It's not. Don't put yourself down. Don't. That's not what he wants either. Just be honest. Just be honest to God. That's all he wants. Because, if you look inside yourself and don't, rip on yourself, but be honest. And that's not for public either. But, I know the broken places in my life. I just do. And I know the things that my faults, and maybe I focus on them too much, but I do know they're there. And I need to come to God with those and say, God, this stuff is just, help me. I don't want to be this way. God, help me. And he will. Because I can walk with him and be pure. But it's not me doing the walking. It's not me having the purity. It's him. But I got to get rid of my stuff so he can put his stuff in me. If I come to him full of all my stuff, He's like, I don't have any place to put anything there, Alan. There's no place for me. You're full of you. And I'll be doing me things. Or I can empty myself, get rid of my wants, my needs, my desires, all that stuff, and say, God, whatever you want, put it in me. And then I do. And that's where and I just for years I think, well, I'm just going to have to get rid of everything and just live in misery, be poor, have a broken down car, just, nothing, because I'm just getting rid of everything. That's just not the truth. The more we get rid of, the more God can put into us. And God's stuff is awesome. It's what is best for us. I'm pretty sure I'm never going to be rich because I don't do good with money. And if he gave me a bunch of money, it would probably hurt me. So he doesn't give me a bunch of money. But I don't need a bunch of money. He gives me all the things I need. He just does. That's the way he works. Now, other people can handle money, so he gives them money, and they use it properly. It doesn't damage them. And stuff. That's what God wants. You don't give up anything to walk with God. What you do, you give up all the bad stuff. You give up misery. You give up pain. You give up all these things here. Self-love, frustration, worry, quick-tempered, harshness, meanness, doubt, discord, self-indulgence. All those are negative. You give those up. That's what you give up. Like, I'm on board with that. I am. I don't know if you are. I say, no, I want to be mean. I don't know. Maybe you do. But what we get is these. And these are awesome. But they're from God, not from us. Okay? So that's what we got to do. That publican, I don't want to be. I don't want to be like wicked and evil, but I want to have his attitude, because basically that's who I am. The Pharisees, like, I got it all. I got this. Thanks, God. I'll let you know when I need something. That's retarded. Can I say that? I just did. It's probably bad, and I'll get a letter from